Good evening. That was actually the wrong video that I wanted to start this out with. Um, I was kind of wondering why it was so short. So hi, good morning. Or not good morning, good evening. It's been hours since I had my coffee, so apologies. As well as it's just been a rough week. It's been a very rough week, and I don't anybody who has any kind of knowledge uh, about anything online. Um, First off, can you hear me okay? I think I messed with the sound a bit too much. Um, Sound good? Yeah. Thumbs up in the chat. Hear me good? Oh, okay. Yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah, cousin Eddie, I feel that entirely. Everyone's a little out of sorts. Yes, I am very out of sorts this week. And I think most of us are for the same reason. Um, we've probably lost not probably lost, we have lost somebody who was probably the most pure, kind, genuine of any, I guess, influencers, commentators, whatever you want to call them. And yes, he's under the title of conservative, if we want to get into the whole political thing, since everybody's all about politics these days. Even my name has, my handle has libertarian in it. Everyone's all about politics. Yes, he's under the banner of conservative, but he managed to still reach out to libertarians. He still would reach out to libertarians and try to help us get what we wanted. Like when it came to Trump, he advocated for Ross to be freed on day one. Of course, unless you're living under a rock, I'm talking about Charlie Kirk. Now, there's a lot that people can say about Charlie Kirk, and I know that if you go on X, that's all you're going to see is Charlie Kirk videos. Almost everywhere you go on social media is going to be Charlie Kirk videos. Charlie, he left such a huge impression on the internet, where everybody can see his videos. He left a big impression on people, a big impression on, I would even say, on the world, because he really did a lot to help Trump get elected. And an American president impacts the entire world, since we practically, are top dog on Earth. This is so true. Charlie transcended political labels for anyone that understood what he stood for. Yes. Yeah, he was the most genuine, and that's kind of where I don't understand. Yes, he was very religious. He stuck to that, and he was honest about it. But the thing is that people that are celebrating his death, his very gruesome death, and I don't want to say that I went back and forth on trying to bring the video on tonight. I cannot stand to watch it again. And I'm somebody, like, I used to watch like rotten.com when I was little. Like I have a strong stomach for that stuff. And it's just really gut-wrenching to think what all transpired at that moment. Since then, a lot has come out, such as water. She seems to be a daddy's girl. There's videos of her running up to him when he was on Fox, and lost audio Audio back. Okay. So she did what any daddy's girl would do when she's scared. She ran to him. She heard the gunfire, got scared. Small child. And she ran to her father. And if that doesn't break you, you really, like, if that doesn't make you feel something, then make a doctor's appointment and get your pulse checked, because either you're the coldest person with the coldest heart, or you're inhuman. Sorry. I just, this is hard to talk about, but I feel like we needed to have a discussion about it. There is a lot of hate going on, which I don't understand. He was so nice and respectful to everyone who would come up. They say, you're trying to take people's rights, you're trying to, spread hate. Go up and talk to him. There seemed to be no hateful bone in that man's body. If anybody tries to say they wanted to live Christ-like, like a lot of Christians say they want to live as Christ-like as possible, Charlie is the closest I've seen to anybody get anywhere near that. And he always advocated for discussion, no violence. And they took him out. They took him out. And I still am in disbelief about it. And I don't know. I don't know if y'all just feel like, is this a simulation? Are we going to wake up and it's not going to happen? Because it's like Charlie Kirk. They assassinated Charlie Kirk, the super nice guy that goes to colleges and lets everybody speak. Even if they don't agree with him, he still tells his supporters to calm down, let them speak. I've tried to stay off of X as much as I can, the day after, especially, because it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. But the impact that Charlie made, all the things that he's done, and he was very, very young. He was only 31. He started his whole journey in politics, turning point and everything else from a young age. So he's been doing this a while, but still, even so, he's still so young. And he's got so many videos out there. He's made so many appearances. Like, he hit the ground running at a young age doing this. And it's just not, it's not something to really, that's going to be easy to grasp, because he was the most respectful person the conservatives had. He was the most so he was just so quick. Bible verses, and he was quick at debating. He was the best, probably the best debater, a master debater, as South Park would say. And he loved that episode. He's such a good sport about it. And they took it down. They need to put it back up. He loved it. Put it back up. I just take a break and talk a second. I always thought it was interesting just how far they go to destroy people with charisma, but are stuck on trying to fake it in the most obvious ways. Yeah, Charlie was a natural. He was absolutely a natural. I loved the name. He was welcoming people in. He really was. He really was. It doesn't matter what race you were, no matter what your sexuality was. He'll tell you, as a Christian, he didn't agree if you were gay, like with what you do. But he still talked to you like a person, like a human being. He still treated you with kindness and respect. And Shapiro seriously wants to take over his space. Yeah, no. Ben Shapiro, there's never going to be another Charlie Kirk. Never. You can't find somebody else like that. There is absolutely no way there can be another Charlie Kirk. He's going to go down, and he is going down as one of the greatest minds of all time. And yes, it's, we won't say that, really big, but the thing is that the guy was such a good guy. He was so smart. And he was just good. He was practically Steve Rogers without, like, the violence. Like, opposite of the violence. I wouldn't want to see my deceased father on TV that soon. I do think he'd want to keep it up. Yeah. Well, his kids shouldn't be watching South Park anyway. But yeah, I do think he'd want to keep up the episode. He loved it. He absolutely loved it. And he said that he even made the Cartman with the Charlie Kirk hair his profile picture on X, and it was so funny. He was such a good sport about it. Absolutely such a good sport about it. Micro would be a close second. I think that maybe Keanu Reeves might be close, but there's still not going to be another Charlie. But what Charlie brought to the world, and I'm not a religious person, but even when Charlie would speak, it would still resonate. And it takes a special kind of person to do that. It really does. And he has brought a lot of people to faith. He has brought a lot of people to the right. He's shown libertarians a lot of respect. I saw a clip today, and I should have found it and showed it tonight, but he had a libertarian came up to one of his events and said, I am a staunch libertarian, and convince me to vote for Trump. And Charlie was honest. He said that there are some things that, as a libertarian, he's not going to be for, like, the strong borders, although there are two kinds of libertarians. There's this open borders libertarians, and there's the regulated. I'm going to say closed borders, because I don't think a real libertarian would be closed borders. But there's regulated borders, and there's open borders. Now, in the libertarian platform, it is open borders. I'm a regulated borders libertarian, and that's just an ongoing Civil War thing. But I'm a small L libertarian anyway. But I digress. So he's talking to the libertarian, and he says that these are the things that you're not going to be completely for. Like the like legalization of drugs and such, and the border issue, which there are a couple of things that differ from a lot of conservative ideals. Now, here's the thing, though, that a lot of libertarians are just so in denial. There are some overlaps with conservatism and libertarianism, but the thing is that libertarianism takes it fully, whereas conservative takes it less, such as gun control. Most libertarians are just absolutely no gun control, and you have conservatives, especially now, saying that there needs to be no trans could have guns, and want some reasonable regulation in the sense where you can't have tanks. I think we should have tanks, personally. I would love to have a tank. I would love to have like a killdozer, but anyway, so he told the guy, these are some things that you might not be for, that Trump is about. But in the end, he actually convinced a libertarian to vote for Trump. He's just that smart. He was just that smart and knowledgeable. He understood libertarians. He wasn't a libertarian, but he understood libertarians. And a lot of people don't, especially the conservative talking heads. They really don't. Yeah, trans people should be able to own guns, but the mental illness side is a dangerous part. Yes. Yeah, that's where people kind of get it a bit confused. Gender dysphoria is considered a mental illness. However, it doesn't lead to the sort of things that would commit atrocities. Those are other underlying mental illnesses that a person with gender dysphoria could have, or, anybody can have that, honestly. The psychosis or whatnot. Just because you have gender dysphoria does not mean you also have that same psychosis, that murderous psychosis. So yeah, I fully believe trans people should be able to own guns. Everybody has the right to defend themselves. But yeah. So in a way, it's kind of a loss for the libertarians as well, because he really tried to bridge a gap for helping bring conservatives and libertarians together. And here's the thing, libertarians and conservatives, we can coexist. Maybe we're not the best friends, I get that. I even made a meme once. It was like the Star Trek one where are you two friends? And labeled conservative says yes, and labeled libertarian says no. So yeah, we don't even like each other, but we can coexist with conservatives. They'll agree to disagree. They'll still invite us to the barbecue and go shoot guns. Can we do that with liberals and progressives? Apparently not, because what they're all about, and people say, oh, the tolerant left, oh, they are, this and that. Here's the thing. I'm going to show you a video. The video that I meant to actually put on my intro. I didn't mean to put that one on, but it was still a little bit funny. This video is a compilation of the hateful rhetoric from the left. And feeble-minded people can, will, and do take these things to heart. And not only that, the super weak-minded will act on it, as we've seen recently. And the thing is that their excuse for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death is that he spewed hate. What do they think being joyful over the death and assassination of a man in front of his family is? That's hate. There is nothing but hate in these people's hearts. They say that they're about love and tolerance. They are the absolute most hateful people. And it kind of rang a bell a little bit today when I was thinking. And it's because they I'm not sure if it's a narcissistic trait, and I don't want to sit here and just like label everybody narcissist because that's so easy to do, and people just throw that around too much. But they have like a moral superiority complex. And that's what it seems like. They are either LARPing as activists so hard, and that label is so important to them that they just get rabid to just like, I am such a good person. I am just so behind this kind of cause, and how dare you not like it? That means you are full of hate. However, in getting themselves so amped up, they have lost themselves and have become monsters, celebrating an assassination, political violence, an assassination. Yeah, right here, we are not people to them. Yeah, they have absolutely dehumanized us in an attempt to bolster their moral superiority, because it's all about the revolution. It's all about the activism. It's all about being the most moral superior in the room. That's all it is. But the irony is they've taken no self-reflection, none, to see that in the process of trying to make themselves the most moral and righteous person in the room, they have become the most inhumane. They have done a full 360, an absolute full 360, to where they're not virtuous at all. They are in no way virtuous. They are in no way moral. They're a bunch of inhumane degenerates. And now, not all liberals, okay? I'm not gonna spout that. I'm not gonna dehumanize them like they do everybody who's right of Stalin. And yet they just will not take any sort of accountability. And it's true when you see the fact that the shooter was just caught today, luckily, and they are already trying to gaslight that the shooter is MAGA. The shooter is right. No, the shooter was a rabid left-winger. His parents even said that he was a rabid left-wing. Like, he was raised in a conservative family, but that doesn't make him a conservative. There's plenty of those left-wing nut jobs that come from conservative families. It happens. Licensed professional counselor here. Trust me, there is rampant narcissism, borderline personality disorder, and sociopathy on the left. Don't ignore it and don't forget it. I can absolutely believe that. I really can. I'm not sure if it has to do with the whole feel good, like, oh, you're fighting for good, righteous things kind of thing, and it just kind of takes them over, and then they just let themselves go and become monsters that way. Because that's kind of what's happened. They the clip that played in the intro is not the one that I wanted to play initially, but the clip that played in the intro was somebody who lost their job because they were gloating and making fun of or glorifying or celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination, and somebody contacted their employer and they were fired. I don't condone that. I don't like the idea of taking somebody's livelihood from them. I feel in some way that's a NAP violation, because their livelihood is how they're able to live and survive, and taking that from somebody, I feel like, that's a NAP violation. But I'm not gonna shed a tear or say don't do it, because the left has been doing that to conservatives for so long, and it is satisfying to see them see what it feels like. I almost feel like there's conservatives that are getting vindicated with that, and I just can't help but think of that scene in Ragnarok, the Thor Ragnarok, when Loki was like, yeah, that's how it feels. I just kind of feel like every time I see that somebody got fired, I'm just kind of like thinking like that's how it feels. Because you know some of those people probably jumped on the bandwagon to cancel some people and get some people fired. Moral superiority is the most addictive drug out there, and the left has been snorting it for decades. It used to be the religious right, but now it's the lunatic left. And I think that's probably why they see Nazis everywhere, because the religious right saw Satanism everywhere. Whereas now the lunatic left, they see Nazis everywhere. And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And so what's the worst thing to be is a Nazi? No, like the Nazis are the most hated group because of what they did, of course, obvious reasons. So they are going to see the worst of the worst everywhere. That's why the left sees Nazis everywhere. They're just like the church ladies from like the 90s. It's like the satanic panic, but it's the Nazi panic now. Ugh. Okay, so let's see if the initial video that I wanted to show, and the reason I want to show this, it's a compilation I found on X. The fact that they've been trying so hard to gaslight, and some have even blamed Charlie Kirk for his own assassination. That man preached peace. That man preached civil dialogue. That's all he did was talk to people. He used to say, even, that when we stop talking, that's when the violence starts. This man was all about having discussions, debating, civility. He was the kindest, most civil person. And this compilation is exactly what these people are about. And it shows that they are really the hateful ones. And they have been fanning flames of hate, pointing fingers at the other side and doing exactly what they say the other side is doing. They're spreading hate, and people are dying now. And if they don't stop, because they have a lot of mental illness on their side, if they don't stop, it's going to continue, and it needs to stop.
Have made their choice. They embrace anger.
We're fighting fire with fire. I'm going to punch these sons of bitches in the mouth.
I hate Charlie Kirk. I think he's actually a Satan spawn. But he's
going to run right over him, aren't we?
There are people who know how to fight. Get out of their damn ways.
They thrive on chaos.
You can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
Yeah.
There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
Donald Trump is very much alive.
And they live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies.
Biggest terror threat in this country is white men.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
I'd like to punch him in the face.
Go and take Trump out tonight.
Equality and democracy are under assault by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
This dude has to be knocked over the head, like hard.
We're in a war right now, so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
We like a good fight.
We Democrats are fighting as hard as we can. Democrats are fighting as hard as we can.
Credit it in any way, but we're fighting back.
And that is a threat to this country.
I'm speechless. I saw that earlier, and I know that's not all the clips of them fanning flames of hate, but it's enough to show you they're not fooling anybody with this gaslighting of, no, he's actually conservative. No, he's someone even said he's MAGA. There's no MAGA person on Earth. I say on Earth because there's MAGA people all over the world. There's people like around the world that are all like MAGA, even though they're in another country. There's no MAGA person on this green Earth who would touch a hair on Charlie Kirk's head. So trying to gaslight and say he was MAGA is the worst and biggest cope ever. And the fact that they have such blinders on, not thinking that all this hateful shit they say is going to cause anybody to act on it, but yet they're celebrating it. You know, you're celebrating something, but you're like, oh no, we're too morally virtuous to do anything. It's got to be one of y'all doing it. But y'all are the ones celebrating it. Why would you celebrate something that your opposition did? You wouldn't. And they are just liars. That is absolutely true. And here's the thing. I've said I don't particularly care for conservatives, or I should say more conservatism. You know, a lot of the Christian conservatives can and don't get me wrong, I love Christians, like absolute, favorite people. Christian conservatives can get a little stop trying to make laws like that, because that, limits freedom for everybody else, just because it's pro your religion. Anyway, so I don't particularly care much for conservatives, but I can coexist with them. I can befriend them and still get along with them and agree to disagree and be absolutely fine. But with a leftist, a liberal, progressive, whatever you want to call them, at this point, I'm just start calling them demons. With them, you disagree with them on something, you have bad values, and you're a horrible person. They take it personally. Chill the F out. All I said was, I don't think that, we should let everybody come to the country, unchecked, does that make me Hitler? Apparently it does. Oh, my best friend is your typical Christian conservative. You know what? And the thing is that they can still be your friend. And they're not going to attack you or your character because you disagree with them. And Christians are wonderful people. I love Christians. Oh, I welcome. Yes, every Friday at 10:30 Central. 10:30 Central every day. Although on my birthday I won't be streaming because I'll hopefully be at an Acid Bath concert. Here's one. Oh, I'm trying to scroll so I can get to some of your comments. Y'all got some good comments tonight. It's such a hot topic right now. No pun intended with the name and, hot topic. Hot topic is hot garbage now anyway. Here we go. Oh. There we go. The mental gymnastics of the left has been at an Olympic level. Yeah, that's the only exercise they're doing too. Because honestly, there was this group trying to protest JD Vance, and forgot where they were, and they were all just obese middle-aged women, and they had to run across this little grassy area because he took a different direction. And I was just like, that's probably the most exercise they've had in decades. And yes, I'm fat shaming, and I myself have lost weight, and I'm not the skinniest person in the world. I know that, but come on, the average leftist seems to be just super unhealthy, and not just unhealthy physically, but unhealthy mentally in so many ways. The left will vote to take away all your money from your paycheck, and they think they're the good guys as they steal from you. Yes, they will vote to raise taxes so it goes to the poor. And then they try to say that in the Bible, Jesus says, give unto Caesar, which is Caesar's, talking about like trying to say it's taxes. You know, I think there was a different connotation with that, and they just want to try to justify theft because they want everything. They want everything, and they want to do nothing. They want no accountability. They want no work. They want none of that for themselves. That comes from 1 Corinthians 13:13. Yep. Yeah. I thank you. I didn't know which one it was. Unlike Charlie, who was amazing at quoting the Bible, I'm not quite good at quoting the Bible so much off the top of my head. Now, getting back to Charlie, we're kind of digressing a little bit, which, you know, I feel like we kind of need to for our own sanity, because the topic of this is so heavy. No pun intended, just talking about fat liberals, okay? The topic of this is so heavy because he was such a good guy. He made such an impact. And I was actually texting with my dad earlier about him. And I didn't know that my dad really knew who he was or how much he knew of him. And he was a little riled up about it. And I don't really see that out of him. And it really shows the reach Charlie had. He had a huge reach. And he reached the youth. He reached like the millennials, middle age. He was able to reach out to everybody because he approached everybody and everything with such kindness, with the calm demeanor, with respect. He was always adamant on what he believed. He could back up his facts. He could back up everything and still tell you to have a good day and mean it. You know, I think I'm a nice person. I try to be nice, but I know there's no way I have the patience to be as kind as Charlie was. He was just an amazing person. And being that he touched so many people, there have been memes, compilations, and such that have been so touching, to say the least. There's one video, and it was a TikTok that I heard today, and I don't want to be cheesy and sit here and just cry in front of y'all. You know, I know I didn't know the guy. I don't want to be one of those people, one of those streamers that just like, oh, I'm so sad. No. I'm going to be upfront and honest with you. I didn't know Charlie. There's things I disagree with him on. Of course. He was conservative. I'm a libertarian. There's plenty I disagree with him on. But he was a good man. And he was a man of his faith. Now, I heard this TikTok earlier, and it's kind of gone viral now. If you haven't seen it, you might need some tissues. It about broke me. It really did. It's tough. It's a tough one. Here it is.
I want you to know I'm fine, not because my body is fine, but because my soul is secure in Christ. Death is not the end, it's a promotion. Don't waste 1 second mourning me. I knew the risks of standing up in this cultural moment, and I'd do it all over again. Second, do not let this violence divide us further. The enemy wants chaos, fear, and retaliation. Don't give it to them. Instead, double down on truth. Double down on courage. Double down on your faith and on your families. That is how you honor me. Third, remember this. America is worth it. Free speech is worth it. Fighting for the unborn, for families, for sanity in a culture gone mad, it is all worth it. So dry your tears, pick up your cross, and get back in the fight. Do it with joy, do it with strength, and never ever let evil think it won.
I didn't preface that I'm not sure if she did it. Somebody asked AI, what would Charlie say about everything going on? And the first thing he does is says, I'm fine. And it really just, the AI nailed it. And then having it in his voice, it was I don't know, kind of broke me today. Because you're hearing something that one of the most pure people would say. So props to the AI prompt, whoever did it, whatever AI it was, amazing job, because it was so spot on. And of course it was his voice to a T. And death will have no sting for a lot of other people because of the help that he gave. Yeah. Absolutely. After my mom's death at 21, I've been well equipped to handle things like this. Yeah, yeah, my father passed away, what, like 6, 7 years ago. Yeah, if you had somebody close to you pass away, it's maybe a little easier. Like, not necessarily easier, you're more seasoned to handle something like this. It really does. AI got something right. Yes, AI nailed it. So sometimes that, AI doesn't really get things right. Yeah. He died for the left's sins. I could kind of see that. Because truthfully, even now, even if he did live, if there was a miracle and he lived, I still don't think he would have hate in his heart for Tyler Robinson, the shooter, who wears a mask outside. Oh, he's scared of coronavirus, and he's scared of words in debate. Yeah. Let's just make sure that everybody knows that Tyler Robinson is the biggest pussy known to man. Ever. He's the biggest pussy because he's scared of words in debate, scared of the coronavirus, wearing a mask outside. Because if you see some of the pictures, he's wearing a mask outside. Like, really? So, yeah, I'm just going to put it out there. Charlie Kirk's assassin was a pussy. That's it. He was a pussy. Because all Charlie did was talk. He didn't actually spew hate. When you see or think that disagreeing is hate, then that's what you see in Charlie. But disagreeing is not hate. It's just disagreeing. People have different perspectives. If you cannot be adult enough to understand that not everybody is going to agree with you, maybe you either need to get mental help if you are an adult, or you just need to learn how to grow the fuck up. Because the world is a big place. Not everybody is going to agree with you. And you can't start offing people who don't agree with you. It's not only, of course, it's not only wrong, but it's just shows how shallow your intellect is. And it's embarrassing for you. to get upset and offended at so much. Like, I get, upset and offended whenever I see people celebrating Charlie's death. And it's disgusting and appalling as I find it. I don't say anything. I scroll on. They have the right to be as disgusting as they want to be. Charlie was so pro-free speech that even he would say that they have the right to celebrate his death. They have the right to make songs and make fun of him. Are they horrific individuals for doing it? Hell yeah. They're horrible. They're atrocious. They're inhumane. There's so many different things. But even Charlie would not want their speech stopped. Charlie wouldn't want these people fired. These people that are getting fired for celebrating his death, I can almost guarantee you he wouldn't want that. That's just not the kind of person he was. So of course, people are doing it now. And as I've said before, I don't condone that. I don't condone taking people's livelihoods from them, no matter how, disgusting, repulsive, and inhumane they are. It's not something that I think is also humane, because you're taking away someone's livelihood. So, yeah, when I see the hate, I just kind of scroll on. I'm like, you know what? I kind of do believe in karma. What goes around comes around. And they'll get theirs. Karma will come back around, bite them in the ass. And it is for a lot of them. And there are people who aren't like me, who feel that they will contact their employer. And they will get that karma. I'm not going to be the one to serve it to them, because my feelings on free speech, no matter how much I detest the things you say, I'm just going to scroll on. You're saying your piece is gross as it is. I'm going to scroll on. But those that won't scroll on, I'm not going to stop them. I'm not going to shed a tear. I'm not going to tell them not to. That's up to them. They've been doing that to conservatives for so long. How long now? Let's see, cancel culture has kind of been around since what? 2016-ish? A little before that? I don't know. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Yes, that's why I don't think that we should censor anything, like speech-wise. I think people should be as disgusting individuals as they want to be, so we can see who we should not want to associate with. I think my buddy Dofu the Novice had it right, and that DT should pardon Derek Chauvin, and Derek should do the execution publicly and live in the fucking Rose Garden. Yeah, I don't think anybody should live in the Rose Garden. It's kind of like a ballroom, or like not really ballroom. It's kind of got it's like a surface now. In a tent. I don't know how you could live in the Rose Garden. But as far as pardoning Derek Chauvin, there's a lot of evidence that wasn't released to the public. It was very much a political trial. And I know there's people that disagree with me, but there is no evidence that there was anything besides extremely high levels of fentanyl. It was definitely a political trial. Yeah. Oh, we aren't saying they can't say those things, LMAO. Yeah. They say free speech has consequences sometimes, and I'm not going to be the one to deal consequences. If it's a NAP violation or something that could possibly violate the NAP, like an actual threat, threats are not free speech. Threats are violations of the NAP, and that is something I will not tolerate. But the hateful words, disgusting hateful words, It's not that I'll tolerate it. I'll just ignore it and not want to associate with that person. I'm seeing a lot of people online calling for vengeance and death without trial, etc. for the shooter. Charlie wouldn't want that. And that's the thing. Anytime somebody brings it up, and they might even try to accuse you of siding with the killer or celebrating Charlie's death for saying that. But the truth is, Charlie would not want that. He wouldn't. He would not want. He would not want his own killer to not get fair trial, because that's just the person he was. I don't think we can find anybody that is just so thoroughly good. So just absolutely good. This is why I'm not convinced the kid is a trigger man, to be honest. Well, I don't think he acted alone. There were so many people that seemed that were creating distractions. There were chants of people saying kill Charlie or whatever, like before it happened, and then cheered when it happened. And then there was that suspicious tweet of somebody saying that Charlie needed to be like annihilated or something, and then followed up saying something big will happen tomorrow. I don't think he acted alone. I really don't. There's no way it was a one lone gunman thing, because there were people who were admitting it, but they weren't the person, and there was somebody apparently that got arrested and tried to say they did it and they didn't do it. It seems like they were made to be a distraction so that he could get away. But luckily and tragically at the same time, tragically and luckily. And I say tragically because imagine it was your kid, okay? And you found out your kid murdered somebody, a high-profile individual. Tyler Robinson's father turned him in. So I say luckily in the fact that his father had the conscience to turn him in. But tragically at the same time, it was his son. And the news has been talking about the death penalty for him. And what his father is going through, I couldn't imagine, because apparently his family was very conservative, Mormon family. Apparently he had a great family. But he got radicalized. And I'm going to actually blame the internet for this one. He got radicalized by the left-wing internet, side that just absolutely does not touch grass, that lives in their own reality, that thinks that, taking drugs, having a surgery, and wearing different clothes completely changes your biology. They I don't know. I can't imagine what his family is going through, being that his family seems to be the opposite of him. He got radicalized, and they said it didn't happen too long ago, that it was kind of fairly recently. He grew up around guns, so he already had that, prior knowledge of gun usage and whatnot. So the fact that he made that 200-yard shot, and there's some people saying that it was a pro, and then you have gun enthusiasts saying, no, I was doing that at 8 years old. So, yeah, I think he definitely could have and did. I think he took the shot. Yeah. But I don't think he acted alone. I absolutely do not think he acted alone. I think because he was in Discord talking about it, I wouldn't doubt if there was either a Discord channel or a chat all about it. Honestly, the FBI should look into, investigating that, because apparently he was, Discord a lot. He was Discording with his roommate or something and talking about how he stashed the rifle. So Yeah, they need to look into that, because I highly doubt he acted alone. And Discord said there wasn't anything there, but why would they report themselves? Of course they will. You know, here's the thing. Apple kind of had the same dilemma. They wouldn't unlock somebody's phone, and I think it was San Bernardino terrorist thing. They wouldn't unlock their iPhones, and Apple cited like privacy, which it's a double-edged sword. Which I get it. I wouldn't want the government to just tell Apple or whoever to just turn over my stuff, if for any reason. But then there's also the fact of, what if he didn't act alone and all the evidence is in that chat? And then, of course, Discord is not going to, say that there was anything, because the thing is that they don't want to be liable for anything. They don't want to be involved. You can tell they don't want to be involved. Who would? Who would want to get themselves involved in a situation like this, or have their name out there as where it all went down? It looks bad on your brand. So of course they're not going to say that anything was there, and they're not going to turn over anything. Yeah. I don't know. It's been tough, y'all. It's been real tough. I was going to get more stuff to bring up tonight in terms of like videos and such, but it's just hard. It's just hard, y'all. There's so many wonderful videos of Charlie, and it's hard to pick just one. He was such a good guy, and I don't know if I could repeat myself. He was just so good. He was the essence of good. And I just couldn't pick a video. I went through so many, and it just kind of hurt that somebody would take this guy's life. Really? This guy? I don't... If they take the super nicest guy out, what's that say for the rest of us? And of course, we already know they dehumanize us and they don't like us. So, yeah, I guess that answers my question right there. All right, so we are getting up on the top of the hour. As per usual, if you want to support the stream, I do have a Patreon. Unfortunately, there's not much content on there because I don't know what to put on there. I'm probably going to do like a live stream of doing a tattoo on myself or something. But I do have a Patreon if you want to support the stream. I really appreciate it because it's not very cheap to do this every week, unfortunately, and I don't have enough followers or views to qualify for like super chats to help pay for it. So if you want to, scrape up my my Patreon, that's available in my link tree on my X account. So just scroll on there. Or you can buy me a coffee and buy me a pumpkin spice latte if you want to say, hey, I like your stream, here's a pumpkin spice latte. I would greatly appreciate that because I am obsessed with pumpkin spice. Now, I do want to thank everybody for coming in, and I want to show you today's sponsor. I think y'all know it's coming if you've seen the stream before. Today's sponsor is Libertarian-Conservative.com, the internet's largest alternative geared Liberty apparel store. I got Cyberbully the Government tank tops, shirts. I got, my pinup art. I have a shirt that all of you alt people out there during this time, I would recommend it. I'm not a leftist. I just look like one. And in small print, and I'm much better looking. So, yeah, that's a good one. I think I'm going to order that for myself so I don't get thought to be somebody that would be celebrating something atrocious. So we got that. And then we also have the Make America Goth Again hats, which are a great seller, as are the Make America Metal Again, Make America Punk Again, Make America Emo Again. I got all 4 of the major alt subcultures here. I got trucker hats, beanies, dad hats, got it all, and some shirts on some of them. And also For the rest of the year, the Liberty Trap Calendar 2025 is $5 off. I am still out of the signed. I'm not going to be getting any more signed in, so if you missed out on that, my apologies. But the regular calendar is $5 off for the rest of the year. The next calendar is TBD. It is coming. I promise. There will be another calendar. All right, so I do want to thank you all for coming in. I know this whole topic, everybody's talking about it, and it's everywhere. But I think it's because we're all mourning. Most of us are just absolutely mourning, and if we're not mourning, we're just still in shock. The shock factor is still there. So I know I'm still shocked. I still can't believe. I still can't believe he's gone. But yeah. I hope y'all have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend, and always lead with kindness, unless they don't deserve it.